Well, hi there. I am Sandy Allnock, and I have a really super random video for you. So grab a cuppa and have a sit down and we'll chat. The reason for this video is to answer initially a question that has been coming up lately on my YouTube channel, but I'm also going to show you some other artwork, talk about where I'm going artistically, and give you a little tiny peek at some possible classes that are coming our way. So first, the question that has been coming up repeatedly is, do I have any control over the YouTube ads that are served up on my videos? And I want to tell you, I don't. There are politicians that are advertising everywhere, of course, and YouTube is no different. The whole advertising thing is pretty opaque, so you can't really see into how they choose things. But I know in general that if you are the type of person that's interested in a product or service, you're more likely to get that ad served up to you. So it's possible that if you have expressed some sort of interest or likes on different websites or different social media over a particular issue, then you might get served up that candidate as a solution for that issue. It's also possible that you've clicked like on that page for that candidate, or you've Googled them or something, or your husband or your kids or somebody else has gone on your computer and done that. It's also possible it's just election season and we're going to get inundated everywhere we go with advertising. I've gotten mail in my mailbox I never asked for, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. But that's kind of how life goes during election season in America, at least. Tell me, does it happen like that around the world? And are you getting our weird political ads? Does that happen? Tell me. I'm curious to know how that works. Anyway, I don't have any control over it, but my solution is to use YouTube Red, which is a $9.99 a month service. And in that service, they take away all the ads. There is absolutely no advertising on any videos that I watch because I pay them this $9.99. Now, that might seem like a lot, but I spend a lot of time on YouTube and I don't have to deal with ads. The time that I spend on watching cable TV, and I pay even more than that a month for my cable TV, and they make me watch the ads. I still have to watch the ads when I watch TV. I would much rather watch YouTube where there are no ads, and a lot of TV shows, I actually watch clips of them on my YouTube channel instead of watching them on TV, and I get much less frustrated. So I put that out there for you. If you get YouTube Red, I get less income. They say they give the creators a portion of the income, but I don't believe that because all of our income dropped drastically when YouTube Red came out. But I would rather you have a good experience of watching my videos on YouTube than have you be upset because they're interrupted by icky ads that you didn't ask for and that you don't want. So I would recommend it as a service. I find it really helpful. They do have other perks that come with YouTube Red, but I don't really use them. I just use it because it takes away the ads. In my giant maintenance effort here, I did a number of things, one of which was to switch out all of the bullet nibs for the old chisel nibs. Because what I found is the bullet nibs, not this one, this is a super brush nib, but the bullet nibs was more of a writing nib that came out a while back, and I changed out about a dozen of my markers and found that I never used that bullet nib ever. And I'm glad that I didn't switch out the whole collection as other people did, but I want the chisel nib back because I want to be able to airbrush with them. So all of those extra bullet nibs that I had bought, because I was planning on switching out my whole set once I tested them out and made sure I wanted everything to have the bullet nib, I'm going to be putting those in the prize boxes. And the prize boxes are in my living room, and every once in a while I go through and break them down into envelopes and send them out as random acts of kindness. And I do that rather than giveaways, because giveaways to me are just like a way to get more followers, and that's not what I'm in this for. I'm in this for sharing how to make art and getting people inspired. And I love the idea of randomly sending out a package to somebody who doesn't expect it and making your day, because inevitably I get emails back saying, oh my goodness, I had the worst day ever and that totally turned it around. And I love that idea. I love being part of that kind of a cycle of joy instead of okay, you told me I got a prize, send me my stuff, which is kind of the attitude I sometimes get from people when it's a giveaway, when they're being notified that it's more of an expectation. I like when it's more of a surprise. So there's that. That's the those nibs are going to end up in those packages. And yes, you get to laugh at me for exploding my Y17. I dripped all the way down the side of the marker, had to get out the cleaning solution, which is the 99% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Don't put that in your markers. You can clean the outside of your markers with it, but don't put it in the markers. But it does clean up the ink better than anything else, and is also cheaper than colorless blender for doing that. The reason why I have so many markers that need maintenance right now is because I've been running an experiment as an artist. I've taken all the markers as they've needed refilled or new nibs or whatever, and I put them in a box, set the box aside, and kept adding to it every time something needed to be refilled, and wanted to see how long until I was down to the dregs, which were the markers that were left behind, which were the ones that I didn't go to all the time. And it was interesting to play with all those colors that I normally never do. It's part of my ongoing experiment as an artist, playing with watercolors that I don't normally use, that are not in my palette, playing with mediums that I haven't challenged myself to try. And growing as an artist, for me, requires all kinds of experimentation. So if you're into kind of a rote mode with your colors, if you're always using the same Copics, put some away. Put the favorites away and try something new. And this color that I'm going to be showing you in this little video is one of the colors that I don't use very often. And as much fun as that was, I've been doing things like this with my paints. And this is another color that I haven't used very much, but I just wanted to explore it, see what it does when it hits water, and what could inspire me. And with this, just looking at the shapes of the way that the pigment drops into the water, and it makes these swirling, twisting, jellyfish kind of shapes, fascinated me. And it's starting to play into some other work that I'm doing. And that is a lot of my pen work. I've started getting into, I guess last year was where it really began, doing more work with pen. And that came through my urban sketching, going out with urban sketching groups in my area and going out with other artists. And a lot of them were using these fountain pens. And I was like, oh, those are really pretty. You know, pretty art supplies get me excited. But I started exploring them and finding out what kinds of pens are out there, what kinds of nibs are out there, what kinds of inks, how do they work. And I'm finding that using pen for my drawing is actually getting me to commit to lines a little bit more than I normally do. I tend to do really sketchy lines, and when I draw in my Copics and I draw scenes, I do very sketchy, loose kinds of things, and then I tighten it up slowly as I build color. I do the same kinds of things with watercolor. And the pen work is starting to help me to commit to my line work early sometimes, because there's times when that's valid and important. Other times, working my normal backwards way is better. And it really depends on the situation, but I want to have the skills available to me if I need to just draw a pen line and mean it. And the lines that I can get with pen are much more controlled than I can get with a lot of other mediums. And so this weird chicken head, I don't even know where the chicken head came from. I started with an eyeball and it had a beak, and then it suddenly was a chicken. And it was fun to do, and I got to experiment with making those kind of swirly lines that intertwine with each other. And how would I draw that if one line curved in front of another and there was a feather or a trail of something that passed behind and then in front of something and behind another thing and in front of another, and how to translate that into pen is another part of just letting my mind explore things and playing with different art supplies in that kind of a way. I don't know enough about any of these pens to give any recommendations, so I just want to put that out there right now. I think I've bought about a dozen of these fountain pens at this point. I'm trying different brands. I'm trying different kinds of piston converters in them. Which ones do I like better for nibs? Which ones are scratchy on which paper? And I'm finding there's nuances that I never would have expected when I got into this whole fountain pen thing. But it's doing a lot to inform me that is finding its way into other artwork. Part of it, you might recognize here, this drawing is the origin of a drawing that was done for the 30 days of sketching class. And in that one, we do this in pencil. It's a pencil exercise. But here I was challenging myself to do it in pen. And the only thing that I did any guidance for myself was to use a ruler to draw the shelves because I wanted the shelves to be straight. But everything else was to just be pen work, and there was no sketching involved in it. Just do the whole thing in pen and see what happens. And depending on what kinds of pens get used, this one is not a fountain pen, but it's the same kind of concept to have a black pen that just draws that much detail without planning it out first. A lot of times we get caught up in that planning and thinking 10 steps ahead rather than just engaging in what is right there. What are you drawing at that moment? And that is some of the joy that I'm getting out of working in some sort of pen medium. It's much more immediate, and it's just more commitment than I'm used to making into my artwork. And I'm really enjoying that. I'm enjoying the growth that's coming from it. As I said, some of this pen work is working its way into cards as well. I had this stamp from Hero Arts that I was coloring, and it looked like Crush from Finding Nemo, so I gave him some water with a lot of movement, with intertwined lines, so that he'd have something to swim in. So you may start seeing more of this kind of thing added to cards with a little more hand-drawn elements in them as I'm doing my experimenting as an artist outside of my YouTube and my classes and that sort of thing. Now, speaking of classes, I have a sneak peek, a really quick one, at some potential stuff. I don't know what's in the classes or what they'll be called. I'm hoping they'll be coming out in the next week or two because I'm going to start filming today. And that is a bunch of these kinds of ideas, little storybook sort of scenes that I'm thinking I can get into some mini classes that you might enjoy. So thank you very much for watching this video. Go wash your hands, stay safe, keep your friends and family safe, and I'll see you again in another video very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.